folks, welcome back to another Why It's There video, episode 2, y'all, here on the Flipside. Thanks for joining me once again. We're going to take another look at one of my shelves that are in my collection, and I'm going to just give a brief explanation on why each one of those games still reside within my collection. We did this shelf yesterday, last week, and gave you all of that. One is missing here because I'm doing a review on it this week and it's on the table. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get up here and talk about why these games are in my collection. So let's get to it. Starting up right up here with Ultimate Warriors, with a Z on the end of it. Ultimate Warriors. This is a really cool game. Has a real kind of like a professional wrestling vibe to it in a fantasy setting, and that's really kind of what pulled it in. It's got a really neat thing too where you use the bottom of the box as the board that you play on, so it's all kind of used. All of the components are used. You don't have to kind of find a place to put the box while you're playing the game because you're using the box. I thought that was really interesting. It's got a fantasy setting, and who doesn't want to play a board game about fantasy professional wrestling? That's basically what it is. If you've played the Mythic Games Super Fantasy Brawl, this is kind of like Super Fantasy Brawl Light, or maybe a precursor to Super Fantasy Brawl. I think Super Fantasy Brawl is a better game, but this has some staying power in it because of its eccentricities. Being able to use the board and the professional wrestling vibe. Super Fantasy Brawl has more of a actual fantasy skirmish vibe in it. This one's a little bit more cheeky. That's why I like it. That's why I kept it. Right underneath here, Last Bastion. This is like the final, the fantasy version of Ghost Stories, I think is what it's called. And I really don't like the game. But this is a special copy because the artist Piero Lalune actually gave this copy to me and drew a little character, a characterization of myself inside the box of it. So I'm never getting rid of this because it has that sentimental connection to it. But I'll give you a glimpse of what that picture looks like. I'm super stoked that he did it. He didn't actually get to physically hand it to me, which I'm totally bummed about, but it was at Essen, and he actually stopped by the Dice Tower booth and drew this picture and then left it for me there at the booth. I came back and he says, "Hey, Piero left this for you." And I was like, stupid starstruck, and I was just like, so cool. Piero Lalune is also a very cool guy. He's actually helped my oldest son, Michael, when he was going through kind of a artistry kick, and he gave us some pointers on different kinds of technology to use. Super cool guy, super great artist. So that's why Last Bastion is up there. Lords of Hellas. I love Lords of Hellas. It's a great game. I love mythology-based games. And this is great. We played Lords of Ragnarok. I really enjoy Lords of Ragnarok too. This is Greek mythology. Not as cool, in my opinion, as Norse mythology, but still a really good game, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Love the pieces in it as well, so that's why that's still there. Valhalla by Lukas Wozniak. Lukas Wozniak is probably one of my favorite designers, and he's, in my opinion, I know he's had some hits out there, but he's one of, I think, an underrated designer because he's super good. I've enjoyed a lot of his games that he's made, and this is a really cool card Viking game that has some really cool mechanisms to it. My son loves the game. That's one of the reasons why my older son, Michael, I haven't gotten rid of it, because he's continually asking me, "Hey, can we play that Valhalla card game again, please?" And so we haven't played it in a long time, but he's constantly asking me to play it. So that's why this is still in my collection. And Lukas Wozniak, one of my favorite designers, so not going anywhere. Viking theme, hello. So that's staying. Black Orchestra, cool game about the plot to assassinate Hitler. So I think that's a cool theme. So that's why Black Orchestra is still around. Also a very fun game as well. So we're going to hit this one and this one together because this is the expansion to Commissioned. Commissioned has the moniker to it that this is the first and for a very long time, the only Kickstarter game that I actually backed. I've backed others since then, but this was the first one that I did. And Patrick Lysite and Kara Games did a great job with this Christian-themed board game. Basically, it's kind of a pandemic in reverse. That's the best way to explain it. Unfortunately, because I don't like where it usually leads people, but that's generally what you're trying to do, and you're trying to follow the actions of the apostles in the book of Acts, and you're trying to spread the gospel of Christ after he has left and gone back to be seated at the right hand of the Father. So that's what Commissioned is. Really enjoy that game, and it's not going to leave my collection either, so there is that. Firefly. Man, I am a Firefly. I was going to say I am a brown coat, but I kind of am, because Mal and Han are pretty much kind of the same kind of character, and Han Solo is my favorite character in Star Wars, so I could not help but like Mal as well. So really big Firefly fan. Watch Firefly fan. Watch the entire series. Watch the movie multiple times. Both counts. So I really enjoy that IP. And this game really encapsulates that IP well. You're flying around the verse, misbehaving, trying to make a buck, and just keep enough fuel in Serenity to keep going, or whichever ship you end up flying within the game. But that's why these two are here. I think I have most of the game, and I know they just came out with a reprint, and I'm interested to look into it, but I think I may have missed a boat on that. But I'm happy with this copy anyway. It's going to stay there. I like it. Axis and Allies D-Day. I think this is the only copy of Axis and Allies that I own. No, but it's not the only one that I enjoy. I enjoy D-Day because of the magnanimity of that day and the epic nature of that assault. So I'm more. This is more here because of what it focuses on, the actual amphibious assault on D-Day. So not so much with Axis and Allies. I do like Axis and Allies and Zombies, I think is what it's called, because you can actually weaponize zombies after the apocalypse. You can send them you can like load up barges of zombies and send them to your enemies, and now they have to deal with them. I think that's really funny. But anyway, that's why this is still on there, because of my affinity for the actual D-Day assault. Up here, Inish. Inish is by Matago. It's had a reprint, I think, too, but I really enjoyed that. It also has the expansion in it as well. I can't remember the name of the expansion, but I do have the expansion for it in here as well. And it's Irish theme. I have an Irish heritage. I am an American, but I have an Irish heritage. My dad has traced back our lineage back to my great grandfather, Michael Healy, that brought us over in like 1864 or something like that. So it was a while ago, and so the Irish theme and the artwork. The artwork in Inish is amazing. I really enjoy it. It's not your normal fare of artwork. It has a very traditional kind of almost a medieval feel to it, but it's very traditional, and I like it a lot. So that's why Inish has stayed up here. Also a very fun game. So there's that. Coming down with here, we're not passing up these two. My buddy JT brought Vivid Memories to my attention, and when he got his copy in, there was some type of mix-up, and they just sent him a brand new copy of it. So he gave me one of the copies that he had when he from Floodgate. So that's how I got Vivid Memories. But when he showed us how to play, for me, this was a brain burner. I was like, man, I have no idea what I'm doing, but this is cool. I love the theme of the game where you're trying to craft different memories in different parts of your brain. That's kind of how I understood the theme of it. But it was an interesting theme paired with interesting mechanisms. So that one's one that if you haven't checked it out, you probably should, because this one's staying in my collection for a while. Twilight Inscription is the roll and write version of Twilight Imperium 4th edition. And you saw that I had Twilight Imperium down here, 4th edition, and this is the roll and write version of Twilight Imperium 4, which you might say, how in the world does that work? And my answer to that would be, it just does. Now, it's not exactly the same experience, but it definitely works. It definitely works. I was able to take a demo of this. I actually haven't got this copy to the table yet, but I was actually able to play a demo of it at Gen Con last year. A buddy of mine had his buddy drop out, and so he had this ticket around. He says, hey, you want to join me? And I was like, yeah. So I did, and we had a blast. And so I didn't get around to picking one up at Gen Con, but I found this at, I believe it was Zulu's. Maybe it was Mox's boarding house. One of the two. Found this, had to pick it up, so I did, and looking very forward to getting this one to the table. I have played the game, just haven't got this one to it, but this one's probably going to stick around for a while. I just like the idea of a TI-4 roll and write. Okay, over on this side, Glory, A Game of Nights, is a game that I was introduced to back when it was in its prototype form, before they ran their Kickstarter, and this is a copy of the Kickstarter that they gave me because of all of the coverage that I gave them while they were running their original Kickstarter, which funded successfully and all that good stuff. This is a really neat worker placement game where you have a whole bunch of workers that are being sent out, and basically the workers aren't really workers. They are to take the place of your knight preparing himself for the going to its next tournament. So you're going out and you're recruiting new people to help you train. You're going out and getting more training. You're going out and saving a damsel from distress, or whatever you want to say. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do on the board, and then you take what you have been able to procure and you go to tournament and you're rolling dice and you're trying to defeat different tournaments. There's a couple of different modes. It's a really neat game. I enjoy it a lot. And the theme and artwork are really good for it as well. So that's going to stick around for a while. Tao Long is a two-player game by Thunder Glyph Games, or Thunder Glyph. Oh, I can't remember. I think it's Thunder Glyph. Yeah, Thunder Glyph Games. Only 20-minute game, ages 14 and up, and this has a real back-and-forth nature to it. I really enjoyed it. It really stuck with me. It was introduced to me back at PAX Unplugged a while ago, and it just kind of grabbed on. And I've enjoyed it ever since. Gizmos, a lot of the same thing. The component quality is one of the reasons why this one is sticking around. The way that the little energy marbles, that's what they are basically. Energy marbles are fed through the big conveyor belt, and how that kind of dictates how you're going to be able to fuel your engine that you're creating. You're creating these different machines, basically, these different inventions, these different gizmos that you're like this evil scientist, and just has a really neat theme. It's really just kind of an engine building type thing game that you're playing through. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner, but the component quality is what took it over the top for me, so that's why it's still on my shelf. Illiterati is a newcomer to the game. My wife and stepson Dante played this at Dice Tower West this year and super enjoyed it. So we actually pre-ordered it at the convention. Then our copy came in, and that was the first time I had played it. After the copy came in, and we just really enjoyed it. It has the makings of being one of those games that you have to be, a very well-versed, highly vocabularied person, but you really don't. You just simply have to be able to think together and to think on your feet pretty well. But it's very, very fun. It has a really neat theme that's attached to it as well. So Literati's sticking around for a while. In the Name of Odin, Viking theme. NSKN Games is also, in my opinion, one of the better game publishers out there. In the Name of Odin has a pretty cool vibe to it, in that it is very much a Euro game, but you're also doing some going out there and battling and all that kind of stuff. So I've really enjoyed it. It's just kind of stuck around. I haven't played it in a long time, so I probably need to get it back to the table, but it's very much enjoyable. Cleopatra, this is the Days of Wonder, an original run, I guess you could say, of Cleopatra. This is not the reprint. This is just the original. But Bruno Cathala, Ludovic Maublanc, come on. Those two guys are rock stars, and Cleopatra Society of Architects is just a great game. Great component quality as well. Just everything was over the top with this game, and I really enjoyed it. Also, kind of like Ultimate Warrior, sure, you actually use the box as part of the playing surface, so that's stuck around. New York, 1901, Chenier LaSalle, Vincent Dutrait artwork. Hello! But it's also about building up the skyscrapers and the skyline of New York back in the turn of the century. So it's a very nice family level game that looks really good on the table because of Vincent Dutrait's artwork. So there's that. Finally, Cosmic Encounter, probably the oldest game on my shelf, maybe, I don't know. But this one is just a fun romp. Tom loves the snot out of this game, and I never really understood why he loved it so much. I don't like it as much as he does, but I still really enjoy it, and I enjoy it enough to keep it on my shelf even now. So that is it for episode 2 of Why It's There. I want to thank you guys and gals for joining me, and we'll see you on the flip side. Take care.